Okay, today we're joined by Melissa Suter from our Intimate Partner Violence program, and we are going to be recording this presentation for YouTube. So if you could save your questions till the end, we'll turn off the recording at that point. And so I will turn it over to you, Melissa.
Thanks, Erica. Hello, everybody. Like Erica said, my name's Melissa Suter, and I'm the Intimate Partner Violence Assistance Program Coordinator here at the Sioux Falls VA. And we're going to talk today about building relationship health and safety for life. Like Erica said, this presentation will be recorded by the Sioux Falls VA healthcare system, and it will be uploaded to a YouTube channel. So please do not share any personal identifying information about your individual situation while the recording is going. As it says here, this training does contain information about violence and trauma. It's important to recognize that you may need to step away, practice self-care, and if you're experiencing any symptoms of traumatic stress, there is some contact information here that you can call to reach out to for help if you need it. And it's important to practice self-care. So especially if this information that we're presenting today is a little bit hard for you, make sure that you're engaging in some good self-care. And even if you're all good, still practice some self-care. Self-care is a good thing to be doing. So today we're going to talk about building relationship health and safety for life. Supportive and connected relationships are a universal protective factor for physical and mental health for all people over the course of the lifespan. And it can increase the sense of belonging, purpose, happiness, improve self confidence, and self worth. We know that close relationships can also buffer the negative impacts of hardship and stress in a person's life. Today, we are going to review some examples of relationship behavior types and discuss communication, intimacy, and personal wellness further. So, as we get started today, I want you to take a second to think about what makes a good life. And I think as we reflect on that statement, our answers that we may give when we're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, our answers may change as our life goes on. Today, we are going to explore relationship wellness and discuss what factors promote healthy, happy, and positive relationships. Looking back on what makes a good life, I think that a lot of people might say something about the relationships they've had throughout their life. Promoting healthy relationships is an important protective factor to prevent and disrupt intimate partner violence. And understanding and promoting these concepts can also increase our wellness across the lifespan. Why do we worry about relationship wellness? Well, social connections are good for us and our physical health. The quality of relationships we have is important for health and well being throughout our lifetimes. Healthy, connected relationships help protect us both physically and mentally. And there are many benefits to healthy, supportive relationships, such as having someone to celebrate good times with or offering support when we need it. And positive, close relationships can buffer the life stressors that we have. And it is also good for our health and well being across our lifespan. Having connected and supportive relationships may prevent loneliness. It can help build self confidence. It can improve self worth and increase a sense of belonging and purpose. When relationships are unhealthy or potentially dangerous, it is imperative that we seek support. So, when we look at relationship wellness, there's three different relationship behavior types that we can look at. And those include healthy, unhealthy, and high risk relationships. So, when we look at how we gauge relationship wellness, it's important to recognize that humans are very dynamic and relationships are unique to the individuals involved in them. There are many types of relationships. There's familial, romantic, friendship, professional, or even the relationship that we have with our pets. For the purpose of this presentation, we're going to be focusing on the intimate relationships and partnerships that we have. There are certain relationships behaviors that can be associated within a spectrum of intimate partner relationship health and wellness. Understanding these behaviors can help us to better understand and consider intimate partner relationship health. So the VA has outlined information about relationship behavior types, like I mentioned, including healthy, unhealthy, and high risk. I'm going to introduce each of these relationship behavior types and provide some examples. So when we look at healthy behaviors are those that are respectful, supportive, and honest. Responsibilities are divided and decisions are shared. Both people feel like they can trust the other because each respects the other's boundaries and they practice effective open communication. Each person has their own healthy identity. They can take care of themselves and they have a good support network outside of the relationship. Unhealthy relationship behaviors include those that have disrespect, inconsistent support, and dishonesty. Concerns in the relationship may be ignored or they may turn into unresolved arguments. Boundaries and shared decision making may not be respected, and one person may try to control or pressure the other. And high risk relationship behaviors. When we see these in relationships, these are signs of serious intimate partner violence and place the person at high risk of harm. These high risk relationships behaviors are intentionally hurtful, demeaning, controlling, and isolating. In these cases, one partner attempts to make the other feel afraid, feel bad about themselves and their abilities, or feel that they are not free to make their own choices. Other high risk behaviors that one might encounter in a relationship include forcing or coercing the partner to engage in sexual activity, controlling reproductive decisions, such as whether to use contraception, engaging in safe sex practices, or making pregnancy decisions, and not allowing the partner to make decisions or choices on their own. So we have just talked about the three different types of relationship behaviors, and they're on a spectrum of relationship wellness. As we discuss the following topics, including communication, intimacy, and self care, keep these different relationship behaviors in mind. Factors that increase the risk of unhealthy relationships. One partner in a relationship may become a caregiver. And for the purpose of this presentation, I think we can relate to the dynamics that change when one partner needs to care for the other partner. Another factor that can increase the risk of unhealthy relationships include when one partner may start to feel inadequate, isolated, or misunderstood by the partner. Or a partner may need to be more flexible to accommodate, or they may become more anxious, such as when we experience high caregiver burden. We also know that when people are experiencing physical, mental health concerns, that there can be increased stressors such as financial, maybe a loss or an inability to provide financially. That can also result in unhealthy relationships. Another factor that can impact relationships is substance abuse. Partners are often more unhappy than couples who don't have problems with alcohol or other drugs. So if we're using substances, we typically are more unhappy compared to those that don't. As substance use increases, it takes time away from the relationship and creates an emotional distance. And then we get stuck in a cycle of conflict. So the substance abuse leads to conflict, and conflict leads to increased substance use for coping. Another concern related to healthy relationships is that when we have a lack of support outside the relationship, um, this can be used also to cover an addiction. And so our world gets pretty small, and that cycle can continue that way too. So, looking at communication wellness, let's talk about communication wellness and consider how communication impacts healthy, unhealthy, and high risk relationships. Communication wellness includes the ability to share our feelings, engage in active listening, have assertive communication, good nonverbal cues, showing appreciation, engaging in compromise with our partners and conflict resolution, and taking a closer look here at sharing feelings. Sharing our feelings can improve our overall connectedness and build intimacy and trust in relationships. Sharing of feelings is more important than the type of feelings that we share. It's important to make sure that everybody knows that when we have good communication, there is a better understanding of the partner's feelings and desires. It's important that both partners can feel comfortable sharing feelings. And to do this, closeness, trust, and mutual support is what will help strengthen our relationships over time. When we're able to do that, conflict and problems can be easier solved. And when conflict and problems are not addressed, this can erode trust, closeness, and leave partners often feeling disrespected, resentful, hurt, and angry. This further can lead to struggles for power and control in relationships. So, the next key to communication is active listening. And active listening helps individuals feel listened to and not feel judged. There is a difference between hearing what someone is saying and listening to understand them. Active listening simply means making an effort to understand someone's feelings. One thing that I like to tell people in some of the groups that we do here is that We don't have to agree with what our partners are saying, but we do have to understand what they're saying, and we do have to let them know that what they're saying to us is important, and that even if we don't agree with it, we can still attempt and make that goal to understand why they're feeling the way they're feeling. So when we look at that assertive communication, there are three types of communication that people typically involve themselves in: passive, aggressive, and assertive. We're going to focus more on the assertive communication, which by doing this, it helps to solve problems and enhance closeness through direct communication. Assertive communication is saying what you think and how you feel. When we practice assertive communication, it is important to monitor one's tone and body language. For example, if someone is using an accentuated vocal tone and pointing towards their partner repeatedly stating what they think and feel, the verbal and nonverbal message may be heard as sarcastic or threatening, and the person listening may become defensive or stop communicating. So it's again important to recognize that it's not always what we say, but how we say things that can in- hamper our communication. Appreciation. Appreciation is achieved when gratitude is expressed towards a partner, focusing on when the partner is doing something good or positive. Ideas how to express and build appreciation within your relationship can include saying things like, I'm proud of you, I'm attracted to you, I like how you do this or that. Or giving compliments like, hey, the lawn looks great, or the way your hair looks is beautiful. Saying things like, I appreciate how kind you are, or how you did that. We can have good compromise and conflict resolution when healthy communication skills are practiced and used. Some ideas on how we can do this is to maybe set a time up to sit down and discuss needs or concerns that we have in a relationship. So maybe, Sunday night after dinner, we sit down and discuss maybe needs that have arisen over the week. It's important not to blame or be judgmental or to avoid discussing things. When we're avoiding discussing it, that's when we get more into that passive communication. We want to make statements with I rather than you or blaming our partner. It's important to take breaks or time outs when communication isn't going well. And if we are struggling, to seek out ways to learn more about learning conflict resolution skills. When we're experiencing a situation where one of the partners has dementia, the anger and aggression in communication looks a little bit different. So just paying attention to the different causes that somebody can be experiencing that anger or aggression. Those causes can include physical discomfort, environmental or communication, and then how we're responding. If they have physical discomfort, is it because maybe they need their depends changed? So we want to pay attention to those different cues and address that discomfort directly if we can. Um, the environment, to limit those distractions, maybe give them a relaxing activity, something that we can do to help with that aggression. Communication, identify triggers, if there's body language that is triggering to them or different events that we can remove them from. Um, One-step directions, not making things overly complicated. And then remembering that caregiving for individuals, especially individuals with dementia, is difficult. So take those breaks if you need If you're at the point where it's not going well and you need a break, make sure that individual is in a safe place and take a break. Come back to it. So the next part of healthy relationships is experiencing that intimacy wellness. And intimacy is considered a key foundational part of a healthy relationship. And let's just take a minute here to think about what intimacy means to you. So, some people would say that intimacy is about sexual intercourse or passion. And while those aspects are important, intimacy has significant importance to developing and sustaining relationships. When we talk about intimacy wellness, we mean the act of developing those supportive, close connections that create a sense of safety, trust, equality, and mutual appreciation. This includes physical touch. Developing a close connection with another person can be fostered through basic physical touch, and physical touch is a key factor when interacting with others. Physical touch is often a daily part of life, such as shaking hands, high fives, fist bumps, giving them a pat on the back, holding hands, hugging, or even kissing. The importance of touch on our health has been widely studied and known to have soothing properties. Touch has been linked to relaxation, trust, safety, and overall psychological stability. So, moving now in from that physical touch to emotional intimacy. Emotional intimacy is achieved when an individual is vulnerable, authentic, and able to share openly with a partner. Another way to think about emotional intimacy is when intimate partners can share their worlds to create a safe and protected space. Having a healthy, intimate relationship does not happen overnight, and there is no one size fits all approach. It is a journey between people that is developed over the course of the relationship, and it requires effort and mutual intention. Some ideas on how to continue to build intimacy within your relationship include using self awareness to identify feelings and express them clearly to a partner, creating a private space to share conversations and establish trust with one another that will ensure that the information you share stays private, and allowing for vulnerability with a partner by sharing important information, experiences, or themes of interest that your partner may not be aware of. You can also invite your partner to go deeper into a thought by asking questions such as, how did that make you feel? Or why did that mean so much to you? It is also important to communicate sexual preferences or needs by providing feedback to your partner or clarifying things you like or dislike before, during, or after sex. Also want to engage in mutual physical affection, such as touching your partner's shoulder or holding hands. Check in with your partner to ensure that the physical touch is acceptable. We understand that there's some people that don't want physical touch, don't like that physical affection. Some people that really crave it. So, again, having those open communications about that. Another way that we can increase our intimacy wellness is by showing affection, letting our partner know they are appreciated. Make a habit of giving compliments and affirmations to each other or to tell your partner that you love them. Spend quality time together. Be spontaneous and break out of the monotony of daily routines. Make time for each other. Check in with each other. You can plan a date night, work on a project together. Developing these strong intimacy skills can decrease loneliness, lower stress, improve your sense of self worth, and improve your physical health. So, the next component of healthy relationships is having that personal wellness. You may wonder why self care is such an important topic for relationship health and wellness, since self care is often engaged in for personal needs. But just considering the old fallback, an airline hostess always instructs in the event of an emergency, put the oxygen mask on first before helping the person in the seat next to you. Personal wellness promotes the same concept, noting self care is the oxygen which needs to be applied first, and taking care of oneself is an investment in personal well being, and it promotes positive energy which can be shared with others. For example, taking yoga classes or listening to uplifting music can improve mood, and it may increase openness to supporting and helping others you care about. Self care is a fundamental piece of all strong and thriving relationships. And engaging in self care activities can increase happiness, joy, relaxation, and reduce stress. Consistent personal self care activities can increase mental, spiritual, and our physical health. It's also important to support our partner's self care, even if it is not a mutual shared personal interest. Encouraging a partner's interest can build connection and intimacy. So if your partner likes to go fishing, golfing, hunting, whatever it may be, and that's not our thing, it's still important to encourage that with them. Encouraging it sends a good message about self care being welcome and important. Self care is therapeutic when it elicits self confidence, stress management, and mental clarity. Sometimes there are solid and deliberate barriers to self care in a relationship. And when that happens, there's a higher risk for that intimate partner violence. There are many examples of intimate partner violence behaviors that can include psychological abuse and coercion, and that can result in self care options being taken away or limited. When a partner uses these behaviors, one way to gain control is to restrict a partner's ability to engage in self care practices. When we do this, it can be very emotionally painful. And over time, a person may stop self care altogether as their ability to cope is reduced. Some examples of losing that opportunity to engage in self care due to an unhealthy or high risk relationship can include preventing a partner from spending time with family or friends, interfering with sleep, controlling where they go. They may demand the person stop gardening or stop taking their prescription medicine or stop going to the doctor's office. When it is difficult to take care of basic self care needs, our overall health will likely suffer. So, in conclusion, with the personal wellness, it is never too late to start a new self care routine and invest in our well being. Personal self care can increase the sense of well being, which is essential to be there and to care for others. Well being is a fundamental piece of all strong and thriving intimate partner relationships. Please consider incorporating and promoting wellness concepts into your relationship. Another component in building healthy relationships is understanding the impact relationships can have on health. Being connected to other people matters more than any other life factor, including money and power, to our health and happiness. Relationships matter to our whole well being. Experiencing unhealthy relationships can lead to certain health problems. People who experience unhealthy or high risk relationships have a higher risk of asthma, sexual and reproductive health problems, chronic pain, stomach problems, headaches and migraines, and heart disease and stroke. People who are connected to others are less likely to get as many colds, have fewer heart attacks, and live longer. Healthy relationships can also lower the rates of anxiety and depression while increasing our self esteem. It can help you find deeper meaning and purpose in your life. So, the caregiving component and increased risk factors for intimate partner violence. Being a caregiver may find you more isolated from friends and family that you used to be close with. That can cause increased stress. The caregiver may have to change jobs, reduce hours with financial strain. Like we had mentioned earlier, the characteristics of the relationship can be shifted, which means that the caregiver now is in more of a situation where they have to make more decisions. Maybe the veteran's unable to physically care for themselves, mentally care for themselves, whatever it might be, that's causing that power dynamic to switch. There can be issues of recreating those boundaries, setting up what allowing the veteran to have be able to do what they can do for themselves, and also respecting that they may not be able to do as much as they did for themselves in the past. So what does that look like with helping them? We You can become very socially isolated during that caregiving process, and for sure leads to a loss of independence for both the caregiver and the veteran involved. Caregivers also experience new stressors when they're in the role of being a caregiver. Burnout, that's a big one. Resentment, that's a big one. I think sometimes people are in a situation where they feel they've lost their sense of freedom, to say, the least. You're not able to run to the grocery store maybe like you were before, or to take those trips that you'd been planning about. Um, and it can certainly lead to some resentment and burnout. So staying balanced can help prevent a small disagreement or frustrating issue from causing things to fall apart. It's important for caregivers and veterans to take time to talk about what their relationship is and what they need to maintain that healthy relationship. So it's important to engage in that good self-care. There's caregiver support meetings. You can engage in individual therapy. There's restorative activities. Other ideas can also be maybe watching a funny TV show or a movie, doing something creative like sewing, knitting, crafting. You could cook a fun meal, read a book, write in a journal, even maybe putting on your favorite t-shirt. If you're able to, go for a walk, take a bubble bath, take a showers can help. Call a friend or family member. Another idea is to think of someone who has touched your life, maybe inspired you, and write them a thank you note. When we can do nice things for other people, that can help increase our spirits and our mood too. So, in summary, here, what are some ways that we can strengthen our relationship? Make a point to spend some time together. Again, it can be watching a movie, maybe eating supper together, sitting outside on the porch on these nice days, just making an effort to spend a little bit of time together. Be sure to ask for what you need and be comfortable with having needs. Sometimes we feel that we maybe can't get what we need, or it's not okay to ask for what we need, but it is. It's very important. Try not to hold in resentment, anger, or fear. Again, Practice that assertive communication that we talked about and those I feel statements. I feel frustrated when this happens. Let your partner know how you feel. And then express that anger in a productive way. I feel frustrated that we can't go to church together on Sunday mornings. So I'm going to take a hour, and watch the service online this morning. Using that physical touch, if that's something that's agreed upon in your relationship, to say hello, goodbye, knowing each other's love languages, understanding that what I want out of a relationship or what I need may not be exactly what my partner needs. So, understanding what my partner needs and striving to do that for them. Practice those compliments and giving each other space. So we want to spend time together, but we also need that time apart. So give each other space to do things that they enjoy doing. And so that you could have some time to do your hobbies or the things that you enjoy doing too. And if the situation is appropriate, there's certainly couples therapists that can help work through these issues if needed. So some resources that are available, every VA has an intimate partner violence assistance program. So if you go to socialwork.va.gov, you're able to look up and see who all those coordinators are throughout the country. There is a national domestic violence hotline. The number is there, or you can go online to the hotline.org. There's a lot of very good resources. There's the employee assistance program there for the VA. Also, there is a VA whole health that's available online. On myplanapp.org, if anybody would like to develop a safety plan, as well as the RAIN hotline. The VA offers a couple of specific evidence-based therapies that are helpful for people that are experiencing difficulties in relationships. One program we offer is RISE, and that focuses on self-efficacy and empowerment for the individual, while also addressing needs the individual has and goal setting. And so there's some examples there of the different modules in the RISE program. We also offer a healthy relationship behavior workbook that is available for people that need some extra tools or guidance to get those healthy relationships established in their relationships, those healthy behaviors established in their relationships. And we also offer Strength at Home, and that is a 12-week group for any veteran struggling with anger, aggression, or conflict in their intimate relationships. So again, here's the contact information for the Intimate Partner Violence Assistance Program. My information is coming up on one of the next slides here. There's some mobile apps that are great. Beyond MST app. There's the RAIN app for anybody that's experienced sexual violence, or if you're supporting somebody that's experienced sexual violence. And then there's the My Plan app, which is helpful if you are experiencing relationship abuse concerns. And then here at the end is my personal contact information. You can call me if you have any questions or concerns. They're at the VA number extension 7898. And that is it.